This is Daf Yomi Yerushalmi Demai, and the art scroll as well edition Daf Yud Zayin, and we are on up to the last word, if you can call that, in the fourth line, Reb Yossi de Kfar Don. And in the Vilna, this is Daf Ches and Beis. The 1, 2, 3, fifth line down. Rabbi Yossi Kfar Don, B'Shem Rabbi Ben Ma'adia. Haminim Asur Beit Shan. Even though Beit Shan Rabbi was matir, nevertheless there are things which are also in Beit Shan because they come from Eretz Yisrael. Haketzach, Vashum Shum V'Chardal, Vashum V'Bubesin, Hafun Hashchorim V'Tzolim Hanim Korim. Some of these things articles translate, some not. Ketzach is fennel, shum is sesame seeds, chardal is mustard, shum is garlic, buchusin is translates as buchusin. Afunim ashchorim are black afunim, and that are sold in bulk. Karim b'mida, which is here it says hanim karin, and he puts in hanim karin b'mida. Okay. Okay. Then he says upsalim, provincial onions. Ubnei Hamadi, and he takes the hanim karim ve. He says upsalim bnei Hamadina, that means provincial ones, and karim b'mida, which are sold in bulk. So interesting changes in Girsa in the art scroll. Again, in the Vilna, it says Pashuma Buchusi, etc., etc. Playing karim, then you don't know karim b'mida, so he says it's betzalim, which are b'nei Medina. Let's see what Chaim does with that. No, he does. That's not what he says here. B'nai Medina says, well, the B'tzalim, he distinguishes between these are B'tzalim. He does say this. He said the B'tzalim Karim B'nai Medina means that the regular onions and also Medina onions. And what's the difference? There were the first ones grown in villages, and these grow in, I guess, in the countryside. Continue on. Upul hanegad b'shifa, and mitza hanegad b'fnei atzma v'istapakni le'olam. Okay, so that is. The Egyptian meat that is bundled with a strand of reed grass. Uminsa haneges the mint that is bundled by itself. Vahistampene and the istafine. According to the art scroll here, it is either parsnips or wild carrots. Lola. Throughout the year, it's always considered to be from Eretz Yisrael. However, the next things, v'kaflutos minatzeres el Chanukah. Kaflutos, which are leeks, are only considered to be assumed to be Eretz Yisrael from Shavuos to Chanukah. Amar Zira mizizem minatzeres Chanukah isur rabba leheter. Not necessarily also, but there's more Eretz Yisrael than Chutz La'aretz. In Chanukah Eretz, from Chanukah until Shavuos, there is more from the heter from Chutz La'aretz than there is from Eretz Yisrael. U'inel tzvichim, in terms of wild growth and Shemitah in Beit Shan, May Rosh Hashanah v'ad Chanukah asur. So again, it's it can't have gone Beit Shan because Beit Shan would say there's no Shemitah after Rebbe came along, but it must be that the assumption is that these plants come from a place where Sfichim are prevalent. So these wild growing vegetables from Hanukkah until Shavuos, from Rosh Hashanah to Hanukkah, you assume are also, and from Hanukkah to Hanukkah Atzeres until Hanukkah on the until Shavuos, it's Heter. Sfichos min Atzeres and Rosh Hashanah. Now the question is from Shavuos. We said from Rosh Hashanah to Hanukkah and from Hanukkah to Shavuos. What about from Shavuos to Rosh Hashanah? Tzricha. We're not sure. The I think we're talking about during Shemitah itself, not Motzei Shemitah. No, talking about after Shemitah. So Reb Chaim says, it's interesting. Reb Chaim first of all says, it's not talking about Beit Shan specifically. It's about all of Eretz Yisrael. Okay, so for Rosh Hashanah to Chanukah of the 8th year, it's also because not enough growth to assume that it's from the 8th year yet. From Shavuos until Rosh Hashanah till of the 8th year, so it's definitely not. They're definitely from the new year, and therefore it's not Sfichim. From Chanukah until Shavuos, that interim period, we have a suffix whether it's from last year and therefore it's Sfichim, or whether it's from the new year and it is therefore not Sfichim and permitted. Okay, we already spoke about what Sfichim is. The article has a long explanation here, but we already mentioned that. Stuff which goes wild during Shemitah, vegetables and of grain, which Rabbanan asked because people then came to say, oh, this grew wild, even though they cultivated themselves. Hakishuin vadluim vavatichim lafafonos vayayin vashemen vatutmorim afsios yeshmi atumusim upas chalo laolam arei b'shvi shvis. We always assume that during Shemitah there's Shemitah. What about the rest of the 6 years? Rabbi Yerushalmi Demai. We're not sure what their status is. Perhaps they're Meiser, perhaps they're not. Rabbi Yossi says they're definitely Chaim Jews. Meiser lo pliget. They're not arguing. The Rabbi Yerushalmi Demai b'lokech min a balcony. It's something who takes from the balcony, and I wrote here my name, my chavrusa, that balcony perhaps is the same lashon as blanket. And it means that a tagar, a middleman who takes from all over the place. So that's the might. Rabbi Yossi he took directly from a garden, and that garden is in Eretz Yisrael. So, just going back to translate the species we're talking about here. We're talking about Kishu. So for what it's worth, Kishuin, he says, are chatamelons, luin gourds, avatichim, watermelons, lafonos are cantaloupes, yain is wine, shemen is oil, tamarim apsios are apsi dates. That's the place where they were grown, according to one shot. Some turmusim are turmus beans. Turmus beans is a round bean is very bitter and requires extensive cooking to render sweet and palatable. I thought it was called a lupin. And paschala. Paschala, he says, is one word and refers to a certain type of legume. The Pnei Moshe says that is a type of turmus, and the Gra takes out the words. Paschalolam altogether. Okay, then he has another explanation, but that's good enough for now. So and then we will talk about the other types, and he adds here something which I'm not sure Reb Chaim actually brings down, that Lokech minagina, it's not taken from Yisrael. And so the Reb Chaim says it's only buying from an akum who's selling his own stuff. And he's not a tagor. So, but the problem is that, yeah, but it's akum. Then in Eretz Yisrael we had an opinion before, at least one opinion says Chaim Shmita. So he wants to say, or not Chaim Shmita, so he wants to say the article says so about kutim. So therefore, since a gina of kutim, so therefore it's chayiv vadai because the kutim do what they grow at that time. It's going to be chayiv and shumus and maestros, but they were not makbid on lifnei iver. Ad hechon. So the question is, what is considered to be Eretz Yisrael, Beit Shan? And that is, I guess, according now the Rebbe Smatia, the area was his mutter. Parshta u'ritzafta v'nafsha the Pantuya ad Kfar Karnaim. All these areas are considered to be the borders of Eretz Yisrael. About Beit Shan. They're all Beit Shan, because they are all the borders and considered to be inside the borders. Okay, we're talking about till now in Beit Shan, now to Panias, which we assume, of course, is the Banias, which is in the Golan. So what are the meaning which are also in Banias? Hagozim, nuts, orez, rice, sumsumin, sesame, pula mitzri, the Egyptian bean. Kamil Zugomar, ahinos habechoros. What are ahinos habechoros? Says the arts grow early ripening dates, also prohibited in the Banias. Amar Rabbi says this is from Tarnagol Kesarin, which is an interesting name for a town, the chicken of Kesarin. And remember, we said that one of the other Kesarin was Katzrin in the Golan. So this is Kesarin, and in the Golan near Banias. Okay, so that's the other Kesarin. But there was a town evidently called the chicken of Kesarin. Maybe they had the chicken coops of Kesarin there. The Tarnagol Kesarin Lamaton, but from below that it's Keret Yisraeli. Rabbi Yonah asked, Zua Yerek, Uva Mitzah Orez. So the Shaitos Yisrael changes that. He changed that, Haisa Sadeu Zua Orez and Mitzah Yerek. Okay? That he knew, so it was known that this Baal boss planted rice. But when the Chaver came, he found vegetables, and the rice was already harvested and in the silos. Okay, so so the rice is usher because the rice the rice might have come from Eretz Yisrael, even though this is vegetables. In those areas of Chutz La'aretz, we're afraid that the rice, which normally he grew here, was not now in the field, so it came from Eretz Yisrael. The vegetables, which you see are still in the field, they're mutter. It seems Yerek mutter is asur, orez milamalon, v'yerek milamatan. What if you have rice on top of vegetables, right? So you have, obviously we see that even if the vegetables are harvested already, if you see some of them are planted, so then you assume that it came from here and therefore it's potter. But now you have a pile. You have rice on top and vegetables on the bottom. Still, yerek mutar orez asur. Nevertheless, the vegetables are mutar and the rice is asur. So we're afraid that, actually it makes sense. No, I'm thinking. It says because since the rice is not touching the ground, we're afraid maybe it came from Eretz Yisrael. Okay, fine. Again, Orez Milamalon V'or Yerek Matan. Yerek Milamatan. Yerek Mutavar is Asur. And then he puts in a question. Puts instead of avol, he puts the word ma, and then Rova Soselu Asodos Halalu, and it puts in the word osos, einon osos. And the way to read it is as a question: ma Rova Asodos Elu ein osim ein osim minim halalu. The He says, so evidently, he's asking, where does the rice came from Eretz Yisrael? Rice grew here in the past. Can't most of the rice come from here, just like the vegetables from here? How do you know the rice came from Eretz Yisrael? Or why should we hush the rice came from Eretz Yisrael? So, Afil Tema Rovas Osos Rob Minin. Even so, it's interesting. He says, even if you say most of the fields make many types, many species, including rice. Nevertheless, most of the rice comes from Isser. Most rice comes from Eretz Yisrael. So despite the fact that the rice has grown here in this field, and rice grows all around here, but the majority of rice comes from Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, you have to assume that it's Chayiv and Shumas HaMaisus. Tana, Horish B'chulas Antuchia Mutter Mekama. Rice, which is Necholos Antuchia, is considered to be mutter in its place, meaning that if you find it there, you assume it's from there, and therefore it's part of from Shumas Meiser, because that Antuchia is Chutz La'aretz. Let's see here ad Biran. He said at the Biran it's Chazaka bar from Chutz La'aretz. Rabbi Yonah stated, sometimes boy is a question, sometimes it's a statement. Here's the statement: Ukimidaso l'chol ruach, and the same measure in all directions from there. I see the article. The Reb Chaim also has similar tikkunim here. Okay, but in any event, kimidasa l'chol ruach it means that the tie all around Antiochia on all sides is mutter as the same radius as from Antiochia to Biran. The Gemara continues, Eila Yoros Asus B'tchum Tzor. These are city towns which are also in the area of Tzor. Chatzas, Ubatas, Upima Tzova. Aliyasa V'chanusa Tachtaya. Sounds like not names of towns. No, that's what he says. These are towns. Okay. Aliyas and Tachtisa means upper and down. Lower, maybe it's the Matzova Aliyasa. So I guess like that. Pichatzova Aliyasa, the upper Pichatzova, Chanusa Tachtaya, the lower Chanusa, Beis Karya, Roshmana Vamon, Mazi. Amar Manadat, Amar Barishena. That was once upon a time, but now things have different. There are different cities which evidently took the place of those which are Aser, and they're simply part of Eretz Yisrael. Shav Yesusita, Einish ve'ein Tra ve'ram barin ve'yon ve'arut kfar ve'charov ve'nov ve'akfia u'kfar tzemach. Okay. Rabbi Hita Kfar Tzemach. Rabbi said Kfar Tzemach is not part of Eretz Yisrael. Rabbi Yami boy v'lo mimali misinhein. So Rabbi Yana asked the question: don't they pay taxes? So the assumption is that they pay taxes to Eretz Yisrael. So that should be like Eretz Yisrael, since they pay taxes to Eretz Yisrael. He says. So it says, Rabbi Yami was mali missing commission nichbeniskmishu. If they're paying taxes to Eretz Yisrael, it's as if they're conquered Eretz Yisrael. But evidently, the other Amoraim argue. These are ones which are mutter by Tchum Tzar. Naki Tzur, V'Tzayar, V'Neshamav, V'Zizin, V'yagdi chomas udvav charvte v'karka devar chazrak. Okay, so that actually is the list which says Mutter, and then starts a new issue. And since we're already on Yud Ches, we'll stop.